Hey guys, what's going on? This is XP Frosted VX here, bringing you an X and Y Wi-Fi battle. This was a battle I had against Robles off stream, like probably a couple of weeks back. I saw this battle and I saw it was a really close battle. It wasn't really serious because obviously by showing of the team preview, I'm using a Pachirisu, which isn't competitive at all. It's just a lot of fun to troll people with. So let's just jump right into it because there's nothing. I'll explain much of the team preview as I go along in this battle. So I noticed that he had a Garvantual on his team, and obviously I have no Rapid Spinner, a Choice Scarf user, and oh my god, it's so horrible. So I know he's going to send out the Garvantual. The only thing I have really to take on his Garvantual is my Arcanine. So we brought in the Arcanine. I go for straight for the Flare Blitz because I know straight away he's going to go for the Sticky Web. Pretty obvious. That's what Garvantulas do, especially if they're Focus Stash, which this one also is. And, yeah, that's about really it. Gets the Focus Dash up. I get a Lucky Burn, which didn't really matter too much, because as you saw on that turn, I did outrun his Garvantula, so I would have probably just went for the Flare Blitz straight away after that, and knocked out his Garvantula to begin with. So this really just made the battle one turn shorter, as he does indeed get the Sticky Web up. I couldn't have done anything different to get that Sticky Web off, and I can't get it off the field now because I don't have a Rapid Spinner. Never make a team if you don't have a Rapid Spinner or a Defogger, because Sticky Web will ruin your team if you're a very fast offensive-based team like mine was. He goes into his Dusclops here, and I kind of made the mistake of going for the attack, which my Arcanine is Choice Bandit. I wanted to see how much a Flare Blitz would do, and it does a clean 50%, which is pretty nice. I'm able to take down his Dusclops. In hindsight, I should have switched into my Porygon Z, because I knew he wasn't going to burn me, and the only thing he could have done was Pain Split. And Porygon Z outruns, it has Dark Pulse, and it's immune to Nightshade, so I think I should have just went into my Porygon Z there. As I'm able to take down his Dusclops with the second Flare Blitz, he goes into his Bisharp, and I know he carries the Sucker Punch. There's nothing much I could have done there, so I decided to sack my Arcanine. And during that, I decided to go into my Pachirisu so I can get some para-flinching going with him, or para-fusion, is that what you call it? Yeah, para-fusion. So he goes for the Sucker Punch here, expecting me to go for the Volt Switch, which I don't go for, and I go for the Sweet Kiss, and now the Bisharp is confused, and I think the next turn I go for the Nuzzle. And if you guys don't know what a Nuzzle does, it's a 2100 accuracy electric type move that always paralyzes your opponent if it makes contact. So he gets paralyzed, he is confused, and he gets para-axed here, which is also nice. And then I go for the Super Fang, and guys, I'm not sure if you guys know what Super Fang does either. Super Fang is a 90 accuracy move that if it makes direct contact, the opponent, it cuts your opponent's HP in half of whatever it was. So let's say if it's at full HP, it goes down to 50%. If it's at 50% HP, it goes down to 25%. And so on and so forth. So basically, Pachirisu has like no offensive capabilities. It kind of relies on hacks. But it's so much fun to use when you actually beat down somebody with a Pachirisu. It's a lot of fun. But look at how much damage it did to that Bisharp. That's a Pachirisu doing that much damage. So my Pachirisu goes down after a Sucker Punch, and I go into my Rotom because it's the best thing to take it on. And I go for the Volt Switch as he goes with the Sucker Punch. Does pretty good damage to my Rotom as I'm able to take down his Bisharp, which is excellent. Because I went for the Volt Switch, I'm able to switch out, and I go into my Gardevoir here because it's probably the fastest thing to take on anything. And I didn't, well, it's a blind switch, so I didn't really know what to go into here as he goes into his Typhlosion. And me thinking, okay, this thing's probably Choice Scarf, so maybe I can go with Mega Evolve, possibly take its possible Eruption, because normally I would be able to, well, you won't be able to outspin the normal Gardevoir, but regardless. But he does go for the Eruption, and I thought I could take one until I found out not only is it Choice Specs, but it crit hits me. So Gardevoir didn't get to do too much in this battle, which was quite unfortunate. As I go into my Rotom, I'm forcing the Typhlosion out because it is indeed locked into Eruption. It doesn't want to lose its full HP yet. As it goes into its Dragonite, and I'm going to go and get the rest off, best play I could have done, because I want my Rotom at full HP to deal with the Typhlosion late game if it ever came down to that, because I found out that it was choice specs after he knocked out my Gardevoir, regardless if it was a crit or not. I just felt like it was choice specs at that time, because that did ridiculous amounts of damage. And Gardevoir has like 135 base defense, or special defense. You know, nothing to mess around with. I do go and get the burn on the Dragonite as he just goes for a Dragon Claw. He's going to go for a second Dragon Claw to do some more damage. I'm going to just go for the Volt Switch and do some damage that way. And I think I forget what I switch into here. Not too sure what I switched into here. I switched into Magnezone because I was expecting him to go for another Dragon Claw, and I wanted to scout if he had the Fire Punch and Earthquake. Probably the Earthquake, most Dragonites do. So I'm going to go and pull switch right back and out to my Rotom to scout for either one of those moves, as he indeed has the Fire Punch. So it was a good thing I switched out. I wasn't really thinking when I switched into Magnezone in the first place, because I haven't really used the Magnezone, and I forgot it was 4 times weak to ground because of its typing. And yeah, Dragonite is just trying to get as much damage as he can on me. And like I said earlier, I wanted to get as much HP as possible just to deal with his Typhlosion late game, because the Typhlosion is the #1 concern I'm dealing with right now. Because Dragonite is burned and all his other Pokemon are pretty much dead, like the Bisharp and Dusclops and the Garvantula. So I'm not really worried at this point. I'm just going to try to wake up my Rotom, because I'm trying to burn off 2 turns of sleep. And even though my Rotom is still sleeping, the sleep counter doesn't get reset because of the black and white, X and Y's new mechanics. Because back in Black and White 2, the sleep resets itself whenever you switch out. So let's say if you were originally going to have like 2 turns of sleep, you would actually, when you switch back in, it would have like 5 turns of sleep. It was so ridiculous. As he brings in Katy Perry, the Gardevoir, he's going to copy my Levitate, which is not going to really matter too much, because I'm going to switch out my Rotom, because again, I want to keep it for my Typhlosion. Just in case, as I bring into my Magnezone. The reason I brought in Magnezone is because I'm resistant to both of his stats. So he's going to go for the Mega Evolution, and he's going to get that Pixelate, and he's going to actually go for the Hyper Voice. And watch how much damage this Hyper Voice does to this Magnezone. Magnezone is quite bulky, but like, wow, that did nearly half. I was so shocked. And what shocks me even more is he goes for the Hyper Beam, and I'm like, eep! So, yeah, pixelated Hyper Beam. Nope, not going to live that. But he did give me an opportunity to switch in a Pokemon and give him, an opportunity to kill. As I go into my Porygon Z, I've got to get the Sticky Web. My Porygon Z is Choice Scarf. So you'll note why I'd be able to outrun this Typhlosion later. Sorry I spoiled that for you guys, but I'm going to go for the Tri-Attack, and I'm going to get about 50-60% damage on it. And I get the burn, which is like, didn't really matter too much in the game. But I took a Hyper Voice from this Gardevoir, living on an epic 7 HP as I go for the second Tri-Attack to take out Katy Perry, which is the Gardevoir. Look at that email. Just kidding. He goes into his Typhlosion, which Typhlosion is his last Pokemon, I believe. And lucky for me, my timid Scarfed Porygon Z is able to outrun the Typhlosion as he goes for the Eruption, thinking he would outrun me. He takes down my Porygon Z, and my last one actually turns out to be a Rotom. And because I was at a very reasonable amount of HP, not to mention I didn't think my Porygon Z, even though Scarf was able to outrun a Typhlosion, even at -1. I was really shocked by this. As I burned 2 turns of sleep from the previous, from Dragonite, I'm able to wake up and take down his Typhlosion, and that will be the narrow 1-0 victory in my favor. Really good match, Robles. If you guys want to follow me on Twitch or YouTube, subscribe, like if you enjoyed the video, and until then, guys, later.